the gap for them has really touched me. I appreciate them so much. I wish I could have done. I wish I could have got this done faster, but that's just the way it rolls with death penalty cases. But that's the only regret is if I could have got to here, earlier. But we got here. We got a verdict that we wanted and that we expected and that we should have gotten, and so we can rejoice in that.
I want to ask you about that verdict. As you said, it's the one you wanted. Do you think it's now going to lead to some healing?
I certainly hope so. That's part of why we decided to go ahead and move on to a life situation instead of having death on the table. We took death out of the table at the request of the defense, but we did not do it before we met in one of those courtrooms up there. We met with all the families. We explained to them what we could do, what would happen if we took this route, what would happen if we took that route. We explained how all of it worked and what could do to slow that down or mess it up, and told them, so y'all, we're gonna go stand out here outside in this room. Y'all talk about it and see what y'all think. We want to know what you want us to do. And they called us back in after a little bit, and they said it was unanimous. They wanted us to go for the life so we could go ahead and get this case moved.
Solicitor, how important was it, you kind of touched on the courtroom, how important was it to you and the people behind you that before he died, that everyone would know that Frederick Hopkins was a convicted murderer, that he was?
It was tremendously important to us. My deputy solicitor, Todd Tucker, who I am so sad that he was not here today, he's sick, home in the bed with the flu, but he had done some tremendous work on prepping this case and doing the stand your ground hearing. But he kept saying we cannot let him die on us. We got to move forward. So it was important to us, and we knew that. Also, you had the factor that if you got a death penalty, it's really just going to be symbolic, because the way the appeals and the PCRs and things go on those death penalty cases, it could take 15, 20 years. And we were afraid if we got the death penalty, we would never be able to administer it and execute it, and that would be making that family, all those families, go through a terrible, emotionally wrenching time of the death penalty trial with nothing to get for it but a symbol. So that was not fair to them.
Were you surprised that after all the bluster he's had and some of the family members mentioned, the smirks and everything, that he rolled out of there without saying a word today?
Well, maybe reality set in. Maybe he can go see if he can get his heart right with God. I'd love to see that. But I know there was a guy with the military that came and explained a lot of things to him that about his record and how it would be affected. And I don't know what the guy said to him, but when they came out of the meeting, they told Boyd, and Boyd got on the phone and told me, he said, well, we got a plea. So we went from there. We tried not to waste any time. We went on to Aiken to get the plea established and accepted and received, and get him locked in on the plea, and then do the sentencing today.
Solicitor, just last from me, just seeing everybody behind you here, not often we see this, much folks talking like this to us. I guess just to kind of have that as a backdrop of how does this impact this community and what today means for this community?
Well, the first part of what you said was what I was going to address next, so that's good. I want to express my appreciation and my thankfulness to Sheriff Leon Lott and Richland County Sheriff's Office. They shared resources with us and really helped us. They came out there that night. That was a tremendously large crime scene that they got, but Sheriff Lott got it handled with help from the FBI. Gary Maldonado and Scott McDonald, they helped us a tremendous amount from day one, and they've been helpful. Anytime we had anything we could call them about, we called them and they jumped right on and helped us. So we have a debt to Richland County. Also, I have a debt personally to Kennard Redmond, my dear friend, for helping me with this trial, and I have a debt to Todd Tucker, as I said, who's homesick. I wish the best to him. We'll hope he comes back quick because we need him. Now, how this is going to affect the community, I think that it will allow some healing to take place. They have some closure on it now. That's always a big part of healing to me, I think. But we have a resilient community. Got tough people here. They don't let in much get them down. And I am proud to be a born and bred Florentine. And I want to thank the community for believing in us, sticking with us, regardless of what they read on Facebook. Be careful of that. Because they would have all kinds of information, but they couldn't get it from us because we had a gag order, so we weren't going to talk. So I don't know what they did to come up with some of the information, but a lot of it was very interesting.
Let's start with you, Solicitor. If we could ask some questions for some of the fellow law enforcement officers behind.
Certainly, they know as well as anybody they arrest, they got the right to remain silent. So they can answer it or not.
If I could start off with Police Chief. All right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Just, Chief, you know, more than 5 years ago, we had a very tough conversation we had to have just down the road at the cloud. Today, I guess, share with me what you're feeling. And what I know it was a tough day still, but talk to me about now.
You know, for me, it's about this segment being over. It's about the families, the victims, not having to go through the trial, and not having to have that, as bad as it was today, to hear the things that we had to hear, that they didn't have to do that in a trial, with evidence being presented and all that. So I'm very thankful for that. You know, those of us that were there, those of us that lived through that, the vast majority of my agency, this is what we're going to live with. And but this segment is over with right now. So hopefully we can get back to a little bit more normalcy and not have this judicial process hanging over our head as it has been for the last 5 years.
For someone who's also their chief, but also their friend for the Caraways, I guess, tell me about how it felt for you to get to look at them when that sentencing came down, and you know, we maybe thought Terrence would thought.
Yeah, very, very relieved. Terrence and I had a great relationship. He picked on me constantly, never once recognizing that I was the chief of police, I don't think, and just giving him a hard time. He called me Big Al all the time. It was bittersweet, you know, to know that nobody really won in this instance. But I keep a very large picture of Terrence in my office. Every morning when I walk in the door, he's sitting right above my desk, and it reminds me every single day of the sacrifice he made, and the sacrifice that our officers make every single day by going out into the street and protecting this community.
Chief, can you kind of, I don't think people realize the bravery of that day, but also the chaos and everything that went on that day. I mean, what can you kind of give people just a sense of how just hard it is to believe what happened out there?
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, you know, was covered with the testimony from the officers, victims that were in the trial or in the sentencing today. It was a chaotic situation from the moment of the officers arriving after Ferris, Sarah, and Maria had been shot. That's all they dealt with the entire time, and we were just trying to move officers into place to get them in a position where they could possibly take this individual into custody. And then there was the rescue operations and the sheriff's office utilizing their armored vehicle. And you know, in the midst of all of the shooting, officers that were jumping out of that armored vehicle in the line of fire and rescuing people was just unbelievably chaotic day.
And how long did this last from the moment?
Well, it was at least 2 hours. Yeah, I think it was. Somewhere, yeah, like, I don't know exactly, but I would guess everybody's saying somewhere in the neighborhood of 2 hours. So that seems reasonable.
Well, Chief, anything you'd like to say, I guess, just to finish up?
No, you know, we'll just we'll drive on from here, and we'll continue to keep Terrence and Farrah alive. through all of the many charity works that are established in their names, and gala tomorrow night. So anyways, that is our quest from here on out, that their work was not in vain, and that their lives were very meaningful, and they impacted just about everybody in this community.
Thank you, Chief. Appreciate you.
Yep.
Either of the sheriffs care to just make a quick statement? That's okay.
You want to make?
That night when we got the call, we have to put our emotions aside and do our job. And this is probably the most complex investigations that's ever been done in this state. We were feeling the pain for those who have been lost, those who have been shot. But we had to put all that aside and do justice. And our job was to make a case that the solicitor had, that he was able to be able to prosecute it, and there'd be no doubts whatsoever if it ever went to a jury. And that's what we did. When you looked at the crime scene, and you looked at just so much that had happened, we had to put every one of those things together, account for just about every single bullet that had been. But while doing all that, we also had to pay respects to the families. Just the officers themselves, their families, and the law enforcement family too. So you have to manage both of that at the same time. A very complex investigation along with taking care of the families. The families is one of the most important things that we have to do. And so we were able to do that, and that's why 5 years later we're standing here today. And this is not a celebration by any means whatsoever. I think today is just a moment to go. It's over. It's over. Justice has been served today. And the best way that the solicitor could do, that we could do, is investigate an agency. And now we're just going to continue to pray and support each other and never forget.
Thank you, Sheriff Lott. Thank you so much. Sheriff Jordan.
Gives us closure. As the chief, I echo what the chief said. A lot of people still work there at the sheriff's office, involved in this horrific event. So does Chief Hyler with the city. But you look behind the resilience of these people back here. I got two that I see every day that work for the sheriff's office. You come to work and you would never know the horrific what they went through that day, but I do. And just to see their heroic, all of them. We lost two heroes that day, and I am glad that it is here upon us now, that there's some closure. But I pray for peace for the families and the victims, because this is something they're not going to get over. I mean, this is sketched in their heart for life, and the trauma that everyone out there, there's people all around here that were out there that day, and it was horrific and it's tragic, and it's not going to go away, because it's like Sheriff Lott said, this isn't a celebration. This is a time for us coming together, and justice has been done.
For me, Sheriff. Thank you.
And I got two up here that I know. Where's Dean? I thought I saw Dean. These two here, I'm telling you, and there's others with the city. Y'all need to interview, because they were in the midst of it all. If they want to talk. If they want.
I'd love to talk to you when you're right over there.
Good afternoon. My name is Attorney Chevron Scott, and I have the privilege and the honor of reading a statement from Terrence Caraway's family. Many of them spoke at the hearing here this afternoon, and they said some very private, some very personal things, but this is their collective statement that they would like to release to the press, and it reads as follows. On October the 3rd, 2018, our beloved Terrence Caraway senselessly lost his life as he answered a call to protect and serve. Since that day, we have been awaiting justice for Terrence and all of those officers involved in that fatal shooting. Today, we are proud to know that his legacy will live on forever in the hearts of our family, this community, and the entire nation. We stand together convinced more than ever before that his death was not in vain. And more importantly, We want the defendant in this case to understand that his humane act has taken away a husband, a father, a brother, an uncle, a cousin, a friend, and a mentor to hundreds of people. This defendant is an evil man who has shown no remorse for his actions. But Terrence has groomed this family to continue his legacy because he was an ultimate protector, and his courage in answering the call on that day inspires the world even in his death. We are a praying family, and we trust in the criminal justice system while knowing that God is the ultimate judge. We agree that this guilty plea is the more efficient way than seeking the death penalty. So we would like to thank the solicitor's office, as well as all those who in law enforcement who assisted in bringing this guilty plea this afternoon. We are grateful for the outpouring of support that so many people have given us during this challenging time. Every prayer and every gesture has not gone unnoticed. We are proud of Terrence's commitment to serve and know that he continues to inspire even after his sentence, after Hopkins' sentencing today. May God bless all who have been inspired by Terrence, and know that we will continue to embrace his life and his work in our community to make it better on behalf of the Terrence Caraway Foundation. We are and we will forever be Caraway strong. Thank you.
That concludes our press conference. Thank y'all for coming and participating. If you got any questions about anything, find Gary Street and ask him.